And let's start drilling setup. Let's start talking about setup. Well, yeah, setup. Let's talk about setup, right? So your setup with a long iron. Mostly, big things to be concerned about: ball position, alignment, posture. Those are probably your three most important things with long irons in your setup. The reason is because if your ball position is too far back or too far forward, it can cause some crazy bad things to happen. Just like if your alignment's really bad, you're going to have a really tough time with your consistency. And if your posture is bad, you're going to have a really tough time with contact. Okay? So those three things are really important. Ideally, I would like to see your ball position a few inches back from your lead heel, right? So if you can see that on the camera, where your club would be right out here, and I'd like to see it about 3 inches back from your lead heel with your long iron, okay? And your long iron could be your 5 iron, your 4 iron, or a 3 iron, or even a 2 iron, or a driving iron, or something along those lines. But where I'd like to see the ball is about 2 to 3 inches back of that lead heel. And if you can keep that position really consistent, you're going to have a lot better chance of timing everything up correctly and hitting shots a lot better with your long irons off the tee. Now, changing gears, let's talk about alignment, right? And with alignment, let me grab my alignment stick here. And so I'm going to put this down on the ground so we have an idea of about where I want to line up. I'm going to do you one better. I want to bring up the camera on the flight scope so you can see exactly where I should be lined up, right? So, you see this line in the middle of the screen? Right? That's going to be going right over where the golf ball's at, right? Right over where the golf ball's at. And so we have this alignment stick on the ground, right? You can see the alignment stick right here. That's where we want to make sure we're aimed. Let's go ahead and hit continue. So, if I hit a shot and it goes down, this alignment stick hits the screen, and I don't have a glove face that's too closed or too open, it'll be a dead straight shot, just so you know. But when you're lining up, you don't want to be too closed, which means you're aiming too far to the right for a right-handed player, or too open, which means too far to the left for a right-handed player. Obviously, if you're left-handed, it's going to be flipped. Closed is going to be aiming to the left, and open will be aiming to the right if you're a left-handed player. But I'm going to tell everything from a right-handed perspective because I am right-handed. So you want to have your alignment be pretty square, right? Very square. As square as you can get it, because odds are you're not trying to play any curve with this shot, right? You're trying to hit this shot really straight. And let's be honest, how much curve are you even going to be trying to put on, say, a 4 iron off the tee? What, maybe 5 to 10 yards? Maybe, right? So you're not looking at a ton of curvature here. We're trying to hit the shot straight, so you want to make sure your alignment is also very straight. So let's put the peg in the ground, put the ball on top of it, and we set up, right? Let's go ahead and bring the camera back up. All right, so there's the camera again. So we set up to our target. Again, we're always focusing on, first thing I talked about, ball position. Making sure that ball position is about 2 to 3 inches back of that lead heel. And always, just one last thing, always like to tell people, flare out your lead toes a little bit, okay? What this is going to do, it's going to let your hips rotate and release through the shot better, okay? If you square up those toes on the lead side, you're going to hit a wall and your hips aren't going to want to rotate. But if you leave that toe flared open a little bit, lets you rotate a little bit better. So there's a nice little helpful tip for you. So we're going to set up. Now again, I always like to start off with my feet kind of square, right? I don't want them to be flared out any. I just like to start off with them there, and then I'll flare out my lead foot some. Okay? And from there, I say, hey, like, how am I looking? How do I feel? Am I lined up correctly? Well, look at the camera on the TV there. Yeah, everything looks pretty good, right? Everything looks pretty good. So we know that alignment's good. Again, you know, a few inches here, a few inches there, not that big of a deal. We're not trying to split hairs here with a long iron off the tee. They make these clubs pretty forgiving nowadays. They're not as forgiving as a hybrid, but they make them pretty forgiving. So you have some leeway there with your alignment.